If you are a regular viewer of this channel, then you should know that we have reached the measured move, this recent target, which was 104,000. We actually exceeded it a little bit recently, and Bitcoin has since saw a slight dip. On Twitter on May 9th, I was talking about a pullback towards about 100,000 before a possible continuation run, which the measured move shows a crazy price target. We're going to talk about that in just a second. And I want to take a look at the others chart, the low cap altcoin index, which is setting up for a major push. And we should also discuss Ethereum's recent bounce and its effect on Bitcoin dominance, which has been coming down. All of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today is May 12th. It is Monday, start of a new week. One of the big topics of discussion across crypto social media has been Bitcoin dominance breaking below its trend line, potentially putting in a top for Bitcoin dominance in the cycle. That is at least the theory that's been thrown around. And this is very much due to Ethereum's recent recovery. Looking at the weekly chart, if you look at Bitcoin dominance on the top there and Ethereum on the bottom, you'll notice that the majority of the major dips that Bitcoin dominance sees is usually aligned with an Ethereum pump. When Ethereum is running, Bitcoin dominance is either stalling or pulling back. And we saw that here in the end of 2024, dominance dumped and Ethereum was pumping up towards 4,000. And now you'll see dominance is pulling back and Ethereum is once again getting that pump, which lines up perfectly. For those that don't know, Ethereum has about a 15 to 20% weight on Bitcoin dominance. It has the biggest impact on Bitcoin dominance. So if Ethereum is able to get another leg up on this run, we're going to see dominance most likely confirm a full breakdown. What we need to see from dominance to confirm a major change of character, we need it to fail to maintain previous highs, right? This previous point around 60 or so. If we can't hold that as new support, that's when I think it would be a lot easier to call the beginning of alt season, like a confirmation of alt season. Right now, it's a little too early to call it, although it could have already started. But until we really break down to lower lows, I don't think it's safe just yet to say that alt season is in full bloom. Though we have seen amazing moves in a lot of the altcoins, and it does seem to be starting, in my opinion, from my viewpoint, it looks like alt season is starting. And if you are somebody that is going to be trading altcoin during this alt season, you definitely need to be on an exchange that has as many of these listings as possible and is very proactive at making new listings to catch those new opportunities. And Blofin has an unbelievable amount of listings, guys. It's endless. They're making new listings all the time. So if you're somebody that's going to be trading the altcoin market, this is the exchange you need to be on. It's very easy to sign up for Blofin. And if you use that link below, you get 10% cash back on all of your own trading fees. Every day that you're trading, you get a deposit, 10% cash back on your own fees. So definitely take advantage of that with that link below. Now, I want to hop over to Bitcoin to discuss the recent moves that we've seen in the market. The analysis that I provided on this channel was taking the impulse up and using that as the measured move on each breakout. And so far, that's worked out beautifully now 2 times, right? That target was reached, beautiful target hit before the slight pullback. And if you take the next measured move from low to high and you place that on the breakout zone, well, that was also a perfect target hit. And now Bitcoin is in another formation, another consolidation like we've seen before. And on Twitter, I was making this post saying that I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin pull back towards about 100,000, maybe slightly below 100 before bouncing up, getting another breakout and seeing another major extension, continuation. This measured move here actually is marked at about 114,000. And what's interesting is if you look at this post from Sensei, there's about 2.2 billion worth of short liquidations if Bitcoin hits 114,000, which just so happens to line up with this measured move. If we break out around that point, that is almost where we would be expected to target. So that's a lot of liquidations for 114,000. Maybe that's the kind of thing we need to get the all-time high break. We'll see. The weekly RSI is still in the midst of our major weekly RSI breakout signal, which usually results in 12 to 14 weeks of upside to a new major high. And so we're only a few weeks into that. This is expected to, if it was going to be 12 to 14 weeks, we'd be headed into, maybe July, August on this weekly RSI breakout. So there is more room to move up. The weekly and the daily chart here all seem to be set up for continuation, looks pretty healthy, even though it has been a pretty fast run up. As of right now, I don't see a reason to get bearish just yet. The S&P 500 is also punching straight up, right? A huge gap up on the news. US and China struck a trade deal. So it looks like the S&P is attempting to push for new highs. We'll see if it actually gets there. Ethereum is coming back up to the middle of the range here, which there are going to be a lot of people that were buying above 2,600 that are underwater, that are maybe going to be looking for the exit door as they come back to break even. So I do expect some resistance here. We're already seeing it. If Bitcoin just continues up, it may not be too big of a deal, but we have to be mindful of the fact that there's a lot of people that are underwater that are coming back to break even, and they might be looking for the exit door out of, maybe they're just unsure of Ethereum. So that could cause a little bit of resistance in this range. Inside of the Patreon Discord, we had a really nice trade setup for Ethereum where we broke out of the consolidation. The entry was 2,437, a breakout long, and we have reached that target. It was almost a pinpoint target right up to the 1618. And if you look at where Ethereum touched on its recent high, it was 2,225. It was like $1 away, but regardless, it was a good trade. So if these types of trade setups interest you, then definitely join the Patreon to get in the Discord, and then connect to Discord through the Patreon settings under connected apps. Now, when I'm looking at Ethereum here, I see that we've had a nice consolidation. And if you take Ethereum's measured move, the steepest part of your flagpole, and you were to place that on the breakout zone, well, that target is probably a lot higher than people think it would be. It's around 3,300. That is the next potential move for Ethereum. And we have had a break of this upward sloping trend line. And if you mark up your resistance and then you extrapolate from the height of your pattern to the uptrend line zone, this is showing that the measured move could be as low as 2,275, right? We've broken this trend line. Maybe we come back up to this support and reject one more time for another test before we fully recover. That would only happen for Ethereum if Bitcoin was to test to 100K or slightly below 100K. If that did occur, Ethereum could be looking for a full measured move down to about 2,275. So keep that in mind. We may not be necessarily fully out of the woods just yet, but I do think that this is going to get bought up quite fast. I do think every dip is a buy right now for Ethereum. I do think it's undervalued. And now, speaking of the altcoins, the low cap alts, the others chart, others is showing a similar setup. We have a measured move. The last measured move, the steepest part of our impulse up. If you place that on the breakout zone, it was once again a perfect target hit. And if you measure the steepest part of this flagpole on that impulse up and you place it on the breakout zone, that lands you at right around 520 billion or so. And so this next impulse up could be taking us towards a new all-time high. And maybe we'll have a lot more momentum by that point. We could go higher. And there's also this possibility that we reach the upward sloping resistance target, the measured move, find some resistance before punching towards about 1 trillion as a target for this cycle. That target could be raised. We got to see more progress. I know some people are going to say, well, Kevin, that's not bullish enough, but it is really all about time. Guys, time in these cycles is one of the most consistent things. One of the most consistent factors in these cycles is the amount of time that you get for each cycle. And the 80th week post-halving, right, this is the low cap index, the others chart. 80 weeks into the cycle after the halving, 80 weeks later is the top. 2020, 80 weeks later is the top. And so we need to figure out we need to see progress is what I mean, right? We need to see major progress for the low cap alts before we can expect a lot more than this, right? A $1 trillion target is just a good whole number target, a conservative, realistic target. If we see a lot of progress going into the next, couple of months, maybe we can raise this target. But for now, this is what I'm looking for. I think it's very realistic. From here, that's about, 260% for the index, right? All the coins outside the top 10, on average, 260% by market cap. A lot of the lower cap coins could go up 500, 1,000% or more, right? But the index, we're looking for about 260% to about a $1 trillion target. And again, I can update that target if it's warranted, but overall, I am just going to be maintaining a bullish bias here. There's no reason for me to get bearish, especially as the S&P is racing towards the upside. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash like, subscribe. If you want to get some of these trade setups, join the Patreon to get in the Discord. And if you want access to just about every altcoin there could possibly be on one exchange, on spot and futures, then sign up for Blowfin using that link below to get 10% cash back on all of your own trading fees by using that link below. An exclusive offer. You will earn money back every time that you trade. It's pretty much a no-brainer. It's a good deal. This opportunity is not all that common, so definitely take advantage of it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.